I'm going to start the stream. All right, get that going. Hopefully that's showing up. Yeah, live 3 seconds. All right. This should be there. I can push this button. And push one more button here.
I know the red circle is supposed to be, the record button kind of thing.
That seems to be the thing people do.
But it mostly looks like a stop to me.
Yeah.
Which could also mean stop what you're doing and go visit us.
Yeah, okay. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Oh. Wow, why is it that Skype, of all things, has better screen controls than Slack and Zoom?
And Scoom? Zoom? Scoom. Whatever that is.
I don't know, and I don't really want to.
All right, let's see. I probably should put that on the right page. All right, what's up? Up next, WiX Online Meeting 252. Is that what we're saying? Yeah, okay, good. Woo, all right. Oh, 9:30, all right. I'm getting warmed up. I have not forgotten your pull request, Rana. I've just been running around like crazy, trying to get scarier fixes done. Blocking fixes done, but yeah.
And the occasional soccer tournament.
Yeah, and then being gone all weekend. More, basically a week gone. Was problematic. All right, let's see. 9:31. We'll wait a couple more seconds. Minutes. I don't know why I said seconds. Minutes.
I wouldn't bother announcing a pause of a couple seconds.
Yeah. More like just do it.
Kinda. You could do a countdown if you want.
Could. I don't think I actually do.
I was gonna say you probably have a button for that on your Stream Deck, don't you?
I don't have a button for a countdown, but
No, okay.
there are different ways of doing that, and I do not drive that through a button. I have one for the Ellie show, because that one I try to nail the timing and get started just the right time. And that one has a whole intro and everything like that, so which actually is pretty nice, because I push a button, then I can like step away, breathe for a minute, I think it is, and then I go again, or minute 18 seconds or whatever it is, something like that. Oh, is it a minute? Maybe it's not even a minute, but whatever it is.
So wait, you press the button and then it counts down to because the intro isn't that long. Is the intro the 18 seconds?
The intro's not a minute?
Really?
It might be.
Oh.
It's good that it doesn't feel like a minute, because that's what I wanted.
Yeah,
it feels like it's like a thing. You're like, okay, time to sit down, get ready. And because then it's like I try to jump straight into it, right? And it's a little bit, I thought it was a little jarring, where here we kind of like, there's, we're talking and things like that before the meeting, and we always give an extra 5 for Jacob, and all those kinds of good things. I don't understand why this is 7100. Avoids duplicate calls to VS Find in Visual Studio.
If there's context for what you're saying.
Well, Ron said take a look at his pull request, and it's been this window that I've had tucked away over on this corner, and the comment in the pull request says it has something to do with VS Find Visual Studio. I'm must be missing. Convert element permission. I think it has to do with all the things around it instead. Anyway, this is all just futzing around trying to get white space right, I think.
Oh, Find Visual Studio was the element that prompted the bug, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I that's what started the discussion, but I don't think it has anything to do with Find Visual Studio. It has to do with.
Well, that is an example of the class of conversion that goes from a property ref to a new element.
Oh, okay. I see. That's why it has to do with this issue. Yeah, okay. Issue 7100. All right, let me go pull that up here. GitHub. It is very challenging for some reason. I don't know if you guys have the same problem to start and think, I want to go to the Wix GitHub and not type in wixtoolset.org. Like, I don't know why. Every time I'm like, go Wix, I'm like, no, GitHub for this thing.
Well, you're used to the search bar or address bar searching within URLs.
Yes. But here I'm like, I want to go to the URL.
Yeah.
I want to go to the issue, 7100 in this case. And so I start typing Wix, and no, that is not the right thing. You have to start with GitHub.
This is why I like bookmarks.
I suppose. What is this here?
Which is the primary reason I still use Firefox, because they have a bookmark sidebar.
Oh.
Well, you got that redirect working, right? So you could do wixtoolset.org/whatever.
That's true. Is it just wixtoolset.org/issues?
Yeah, that might be another way I could do it.
For some
could just
reason, I
keep
go
going,
to wixtoolset.org, it goes to the doc site. And yes, it is wixtoolset.org/issues.
Yes. But then I don't get the autocomplete, because the autocomplete actually works for me if I start with GitHub. Oh, it's 9:36. We should stop babbling about this pull request that I've had open on the corner of my monitor for 2 weeks now, I guess. And we should get this show. Let's see. Here we go. What? Oh, come on. You know you want to. Oh, that's why. All right. That makes more sense. All right, we got some people out there. 9:36. No Jacob, but hopefully he shows up in a little bit. Sometimes he shows up a little late, or maybe he just hasn't said hi. Let's go ahead and get this show on the road. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is the WiX Online Meeting 252. Still sounds like a big number. Ever since we crossed 250, it feels like a very big number. I don't know why. It's February 23rd. We're doing the WiX Online Meeting. This is recorded for those of you that aren't with us right here, right now. Let's go ahead and get into what we're getting into today. If you're here, go ahead and say hi. Ron's here, and he's reminded me for the second or third time about the pull request, which I have not forgotten about. I will get to that. Not here, but after here. What are we talking about today? We are going to talk about Wix 4 release because, well, that's what we're doing until we're done. Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. We will do our issue review and triage, and then we'll leave the floor open for questions and comments. And I don't think Ron will have to ask questions about anything because I already know that. And we have a Bert. Bert, welcome. Anybody else? Go ahead and say hi. Let's see. Let's go ahead and talk about Wix 4 release plan. We're in the middle of it. That's only because of the way I drew the picture. Tomorrow is RC3, assuming today goes the way it's supposed to. Today. This timing goes the way it goes. We'll see. Yeah. That's all I got. We're doing RC3. We've put RC4 on the books for March 24th. There's essentially enough change in Wix RC3. We'll go ahead and walk through that in a minute. To demand, to require, to need, to suggest that we should have an RC4. After RC3 goes out, we'll see what kind of bugs we get, what kind of bugs we fix, and to see how far after what we feel RC4 might need for bake time. So we're going to be talking about that basically all the rest of next month on our way to Wix 4.0. deep down, I am hoping that RC4 is the last one, and we release WiX for shortly after that. Like, I don't know, April 5th. That would be kind of
April
cool.
1st.
April 1st. April 5th is a bigger day than April 4th, or April 1st. But I appreciate that. Yeah, that's where we're at. That's what we're working to. I'm kind of like staring at this going, is there anything else to say? But we've probably said everything there is to say about that because we've talked about it so many times. And that's what we're doing. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to review, triage, things like that. There's actually a whole bunch for us to talk about. So, Bob, you ready?
Is there really a lot? Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Except if there's a lot. If there's a lot, then I'm not ready for that.
Yeah. So, I really should say just to like Bob, instead of to the web, I should be like, Bob, you ready? Anyway, here we go. There's a lot for where we want to be right now, I'd say, but
That's
let's
fair.
talk about it.
Let's punish the people who open these bugs.
Yeah, then there's that. So, add search capability inside XML file. And I think this would be a wonderful thing for someone to finally implement. I feel like there's already a feature open for this, so this could maybe get duped to that. But yeah, it would be great if someone would do the work to have not only to have the complement to XML file and XML config to have, I don't know, XML read or whatever it ends up being called, search, XML search, I don't know, whatever we want to call it. Yeah, we just need to design and discuss about how it would work, what kind of language it would use, like, how do you find the path, XPath kind of things, probably, all that kind of stuff. It's definitely not going into WiX 4, so I think we toss it with WIP required and no milestone, right?
No milestone?
Yeah, no milestone. It's not planned until someone says, hey, yes, they want to plan it. I know he said he wants to do it, but he needs to come out and say, yeah, I'll do the WIP and put it into the no milestone. Then we can put it into a future milestone that does not exist, but we'll talk about that soon enough.
All right. WIP required.
Yep, WIP required. I think that's the biggest next step, is to kind of like lay out how exactly is this going to work. So there we go. Okay, now I'd like to point out really quickly that the next 1, 2, 3, 4 issues were all opened by Bob, and the last one is opened by me. Mine is done though. And so let's go ahead and jump into 7223. Bob, take it away.
Sorry, you go in opposite order that I do.
Oh.
So all of these bugs came about from my work on the documentation. I call this documentation-driven development, where I go to document something and I go, oh, this sucks. Sometimes, I might find a bug and I can just go ahead and fix that. Other times I find something a little bit more in depth. This is an example of one of those. Started working on the documentation for quiet exec, all the quiet exec, silent exec custom actions. And oh my, they're a bit of a mess because of the introduction of platform-specific custom actions. In WiX 3, there's only one WiX quiet exec. Well, that's not exactly true. There are several WiX quiet execs, but generally you can pick one and stick with it, and you don't have to worry about the platforms. In WiX 4, you do, because all of the custom actions, including quiet exec, are available in x86 flavor, x64 flavor, and the exotic ARM64 flavor. Furthermore, quiet exec is weird because it works for both immediate and deferred modes. It works off of reading a property, and it's awkward to deal with. And I'm like, well, we can solve all of these problems by writing a custom element in the util compiler extension that would let you use like one element to take care of picking the right platform and scheduling the custom action with the right command line.
And that was always the case. We probably should have this a long time ago.
This could have been in WiX 2, yeah.
3.
Yeah, WiX 4 makes it a little bit worse because of the platform-specific custom actions. But yeah, the otherwise it's the same as in WiX 3.
So
So I think this should be a milestone list up for grabs issue.
feature.
Yeah, absolutely a feature request. Yeah.
Probably needs at least a small whip.
Yeah.
To talk about all the, because there's a lot of attributes on this thing, I assume. It's a lot of little configuration pieces, right?
Ideally, no.
Oh, okay.
It's not really that hard.
Okay. No, it's not hard.
It's definitely not hard. I mean, but even part of why I like the idea of adding compiler extensions, like I did for some of the other custom actions, is that it allows us to do a better job of hiding how some of these things work.
Yeah.
Quiet exec is just it's a simple thing, but to set it up requires some scaffolding, and we can hide the scaffolding.
Yeah. All right. So this is actually not a bad one if someone want to get started on one of these. So a lot of the parts are already documented, so it's mostly focused on the compiler extension part of it. So all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Future feature request. Moving on. So that does not stay in 4. Neither one of these are staying in 4. Moving on to 7227.
Yeah.
Build
Again,
arch suffix.
I was this also came from writing or trying to write the quiet exec doc. The platform specific custom actions all have a suffix that you can rely on. And the suffix is directly related to the architecture that you're building for, which is available in the preprocessor system variable build arch. Well, you can't use build arch directly, so you end up with this nice little block of conversion preprocessor statements. And I'm like, God, this is kind of ugly, and you need it everywhere. And we could say, oh, put it in an include file. I'm like, wait, the preprocessor, we own that. So my suggestion and what I've implemented is a new preprocessor variable that originally I called build arch suffix, and Rob's correctly pointed out that it could just be more generic, wouldn't necessarily have to be for the custom action suffix. So I re-implemented it, called it build arch short, and that is available in a pull request that is ready to go. If the collected wisdom says that this is something we should do.
It makes sense. We could then also use it in in all the extensions, right? Because the extensions have this sort of little mapping in their if defs already, or in their include files, the way that they're being built, right?
Yeah, there's one version of that,
right?
That's shared among all the extensions. But yes, you're right. Off the top of my head, there's no reason that at least the WiX authoring side could be simplified.
It makes sense to me. There's been times when I wish I had the x64 to stick on things. The hard part is that sometimes you want it lowercase, sometimes you want it uppercase, but I guess you'll have it between build arch and other arch. And then that just leaves the ARM. Is ARM all caps, Pascal caps, all lowercase? But the short makes sense.
When I checked, everything was uppercase.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it's just looking at all the permutations of these that you could have. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me. It probably will help. It'll definitely help people trying to directly reference actions, right?
Yes, yeah. Again, came from quiet exec, but it applies to any of those, what I like to call naked custom actions that are out there. There are very few of them because of this problem. but so this is an example too of like the WiX UI custom actions. Right now, you are tied into you have the same problem where you have to pick a suffix if you're doing a custom UI. Well, this helps solve that problem.
Yeah, so it's kind of a baby step or a temporary bridge until we decide how to solve this problem more fundamentally.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
All right. I will submit the pull request.
All right. 7228.
Isn't it someone else's turn?
No, you opened these, man.
I know. Yeah. Oh, look, more about Quiet Exec.
Which doc was Bob trying to write?
Well, that's the problem. I wasn't trying to write that much doc, but every step of the way I ran into some issue. You can read the blurb. In WiX 3, there's a WiX Quiet Exec 64 that is a 32-bit custom action. Ignore the name. It's a 32-bit custom action that knows how to undo all of the WoW redirection stuff and therefore get access to the 64-bit file system. This is handy, because normally a 32-bit WiX Quiet Exec call would not see the true 64-bit paths under like program files or Windows System 32. We turn all of that stuff off in this 32-bit custom action so that you can run a 64-bit process in a 64-bit directory. But now we have 64-bit custom actions. So if you're in a 32-bit package and you need to call a 64, well, wait, why would you do that? Probably you are in a 64-bit package needing to call a 64-bit process via WiX Quiet Exec, and you could just use the x64 or ARM64 version of the custom action. I think that's all we need to do. I don't think it's necessary for us to continue to ship a WiX Quiet Exec 64 that is 32-bit on x86 and is also 64-bit on x64 and ARM64.
Yeah,
but I waffled a little bit about whether that's truly accurate. I also wondered, is this the kind of thing we should not be changing at this point? So I opened the issue. As far as I can tell, there's no, it simplifies the doc. I won't have to, mention WiX Quiet Exec 64 and, sit there and go, wait, how do I explain why you need to do this? Because I don't think you do. One of the downsides of documentation-driven development.
32-bit packages probably can't contain 64-bit custom actions.
I don't think that's true.
There's nothing that checks that?
Oh, see, now you're making me wonder.
So that's the one way this would be useful. If you have a 32-bit package because you want to be universal, per se, but then when you're installing, you run a different command because if you're on a 64-bit machine, then you want to reach into the 64-bit world just enough to, I mean, I'm reaching. This is as far as I can get to why you might need something like this.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely possible.
But 32-bit is slowly slipping away, right?
Well, there's no Windows 11 32-bit.
Right. Is there a Windows 10 32-bit?
There was. I think they stopped at a certain point, but I'm not sure. All
right. My vote would be that we kick this can down the road, another release.
Yeah.
Okay. So we don't have to go try to figure out if we actually need to solve that problem that I just raised, if that is a real thing. Because at some point, maybe we just cut all x86. That sounds crazy, but maybe. And I don't know how much doc you have to do on it. Because it's kind of like this edge case.
The biggest question is, do I feel the need to explain why you would use this and then stumble along with, I don't know. I could just literally add reason TBD and just go from there.
I wouldn't do TBD. Just like, this exists for an extreme edge case, and if you need it, you know you need it, and if you don't know that you need it, you don't need it.
And if you know you need it, please tell us why.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that too.
Yeah.
And we think you don't need this. So if you find out that you actually did, let us know.
Yeah.
That's I think the extent of the documentation I do for it.
Yep.
Man, it's kind of strange to think about cutting x86.
Well, to be clear, you're the only person who's done that so far.
Yeah, but contemplating it, because x86 has always been the universal.
Yeah.
But is there 64-bit on ARM64? Is there a 64-bit emulator x64 on ARM64?
On Windows 11, yeah.
On Windows 11, yeah. That's
Windows 11 has 32-bit and x86 and x64 emulation.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. Interesting world. All right, WiX 4 should support .NET Framework 4.8.1. Yeah, that'd be great.
Before we move off 7.2.2.8, how do we want to milestone this? Does this be future?
Yeah, let's put it in future, because I think we should. Yeah, I think we should, like, kill it. Probably. All right. WiX 4 should support 7239. WiX 4 should support Framework 4.8.1. Yeah.
Yep. Again, doing documentation. This time I got frustrated with Cloud Exec, so I moved on to the NetFX extension, where I discovered that we have support. We still have support going back to .NET 1.0.
Wow. Look at us.
It will not be documented.
Oh, okay. Probably reasonable.
It might exist. I'm not going to. No. I have enough carpal tunnel. I'm not going to go through all that. We support through .NET Framework 4.8. 4.8.1 was released a while ago to add ARM64 support, so it's reasonably important. Today we're not doing it. Figure we should do it before we ship WiX 4.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Especially if, as rumored, 4.8.1 is like the last framework release, quote unquote, we're going to see. They'll continue to patch, but
okay.
They now support ARM64, so there's really not a whole lot going on there.
Not it.
Isn't opening the bug enough work for me?
I'm doing all the releases, so I'm going to be busy. Thank you, Bob. Everybody's out there, say thank you, Bob. Even if you can't hear you, say thank you, Bob, because he's doing the work that he doesn't want to do, but it is a good thing for us to have done. So if you haven't, say thank you, Bob. We're moving on to 7241. Support multi-targeting project references. If you remember at the end of RC2, was that where the target framework? Yeah, the big target framework fix went in, fixing the project references, all that kind of stuff. So that project references to .NET Core apps and target frameworks, all that stuff would work because we had lots of bugs coming out of those. Things seem to be working very well. All the people that had issues have all said everything's working, so that's great. The issue then you hit is that there's this multi-targeting thing that they've made big in .NET Core, new MS build, that when I sat down and was trying to solve it, it ended up creating these ginormous combinatorics of project references you had to do to create all these different to set all the appropriate target frameworks. And then I realized if you had runtime identifiers in there, it explodes again. And then I kind of went, oh, this is really bad. So could we do something that makes this work well? And created this idea of adding to project references in WiX a target frameworks. Here it is. That's what I was looking for. You'll be able to say target frameworks, and you can provide a list along with the runtime identifiers. And what we will do is explode out your project references and all the different combinatorics necessary to make that happen. It's not combinatorics, that's the wrong word. All the different versions or flavors of that you have to do. And then while I was there, I realized I could do the same thing for configurations and platforms in the same way, because we have a lot of this kind of code in Wix itself, which means anybody that's dealing with multi-platform type things might have this. Maybe less, certainly platform builders do it, but normal people, probably just normal projects, probably just build one package and get all those architectures. But this is very nice if you want to include multiple architectures, and it simplifies so much. In fact, I started adding it to some of our extensions, and a lot of complexity went away, and things just started working better all up. So these are a couple things you can now add to project references inside Wix that will then create this many project references. For example, these two lines create this many project references, and at the same time set a bind pass to everything so that you can specify the appropriate architecture and platform and everything that you need. And it solves all the wackiness that you have when trying to, the big one being when you're trying to reference a multi-targeting CS project with multiple runtime identifiers in it. Things work much better across the board there. And so I just want to bring that up here so people knew that this was coming in RC3 as kind of a finishing of the RC2 work around project references, make those work across all of these target frameworks so that they can try it and let us know that it works.
Do all those references participate equally in project build scheduling? Sorry, that I was trying to come up with the actual precise question. How does this work for multi-proc builds?
Exactly as you expect it to.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's quite nice. Actually, the builds are very nice with this, especially given what we used to do with all the mapping things out. And there's some funky syntaxes in there too. Set property and target framework equals target framework. Like the value is target framework equals, and then inside there you put target framework equals the value you want. It's like
right.
The syntax is goofy, so it just handles all that kind of stuff. We're able to wrap all that up, hide it for you, and you can now just go, I need all these architectures, please, and it just works. I didn't get to all the extensions. I did a couple of the more complex extensions to see that it would work, and it really was better. So I'm slowly getting to the point where we could do MS build for all the extensions, where it's just one traversal project that references everything, build all that out, and then have to run tests afterwards. So that's kind of the downside, is that they're not as isolated to each other. I don't know. But that's the Wix build itself. With these changes, things have gotten refined enough that it's really starting to just kind of work, which is nice. After all the problems we've had getting native code and C# code and all the mixes and all that kind of stuff working, I think we're really, really getting there. So anyway, I want to kind of bring that up as something, and then we'll talk about it. I want to talk about that a little more because I'm hoping it can help solve a lot of the things that people have had out there popping up in various ways. So that was the thing for triage. Ta-da!
So can we talk about what you did with the whip there, where you just created an issue instead of what we used to do?
Yep. So this is given I had a huge debate with myself when creating whips originally of whether to have an issue in GitHub, or actually it was an issue in the old issue tracker, so it was long enough back, or so either create an issue that tracks the item and then write it somewhere else, the document somewhere else, like on wixtoolset.org, or to put the whole issue in, or put the whole whip inside the issue. And after the behavior I'm seeing of people searching the whips and getting into them and thinking that they are the final documentation, or when some of them are proposals and some of them aren't even implemented, I realized that putting them on the wixtoolset.org site is not giving me the user behavior that I wanted. So I took the one that was creating the most trouble and brought it back as an issue, kind of got it worked out. And then I tried this one as an issue, basically flipping the coin the other way and trying to bring issues in here and seeing how it goes. And so far it's been working the same. So then the question is going through and pulling all the whips back and editing their tracking issues to put the content in here to pull them off of the wixtoolset.org thing. That's a later thing. I wanted to try these before I got before I started doing the work to bring all the other ones back here.
To be fair, we are putting the WIPs under documentation. So I doubt people are searching for WIPs. They're searching via Google and whatnot.
Yeah, right. They're searching Google. They're finding the documentation, and they're treating it just like documentation. And I went through the WIPs. I'm like, some of these aren't even implemented. Like, they're good proposals. We should have them. They should be out there, but they're not done. And so people are like, hey, I try to do this and it doesn't work, and be like, yeah, no, okay. So, and the status is completely disconnected from on that website is disconnected from what could be a GitHub. Like, there's all these little things that I knew would be issues, but it really was the user behavior that kind of tipped me over, going, nope, picked wrong. Unfortunately, we did a lot of these already, so have to do work to undo the picking wrong. And that's the problem when you flip a coin and you guess wrong the first time.
So how are you expecting that person with the XML issue to, what are you expecting them to do when they create a WIP?
That's a good point.
So I need to go update the original WIP that says how to create them. So that will probably stay on the Wix toolset side, probably near the development section. And it will be, please enter your WIP here. Now, should they create a new issue, or can they edit that one issue? It's going to be, I want to create an issue template for WIPs. So it could be like, hey, I want to create an issue. Here's a WIP. Let me go through that.
Yeah.
And then it kind of turns into, can they like retroactively apply a template to an already open issue? If so, that would work great. If they can't, then they get to choose, do they want to edit that issue and put the template in there themselves, or do they want to create a new issue and dupe the other one back? I don't know that I'm going to have a strong opinion either way. Should they change the issue that they opened, or should they create a new one? And that one in particular, because the feature request straight up, we'll kind of see where we go from there. So that was one of the nice things about having a separate document. Document be separate issue, change the issue into the WIP, go write it somewhere else. But editing an issue inside GitHub is, straightforward, and you get the whole, edit history. So I was like, yeah, that's fine. Let's do that. So the answer is, he will be one of our first guinea pigs of taking an issue and turning it into a WIP. And do we create a new one, or do we edit that one in place? And I'm going to be like, whichever he wants to do, honestly. Whichever feels easiest for him. And I need to go create the template. And my plan is to go do lots of issue template work next week after RC3 is out.
Okay.
So, cool. That triage can go, and we are done with the triage things here. So I'm going to go over here. Let me hit refresh. That's still marked triage. Okay. And that will go away. All right. So if we go look at here in the issues, what came in, net 481, and Bob will bring in the build arch suffix, which now is called build arch short. That'll show up in the issues. Those are the two issues for now. So on that front, Bob, you're gonna get the build arch short today, like committed today?
Yeah.
Okay, so that'll make 4.3. What about then 4.8.1? Is that a today, or is that later? RC4, basically. Is it today, RC3, or tomorrow, later, RC4?
Probably later.
Okay.
Probably
so that,
RC4.
all right, I need to create the project for RC4 anyway, so
Okay.
we'll do that, and that'll be the first and only issue to start in RC4. Woo! All right. So on that note, I wanted to take a look at just a quick spin through the things that were grouped under RC3. So these are the bug fixes, changes, other issues that we dealt with in the RC3 timeframe. There are 28. Oh, I don't have the RC4. Can I copy this? Maybe I can. Let's see if I can copy this. Open a new tab and change this to 4. Will that do the right thing? I think that's the milestone that was closed. Yeah, so that had 35. So I think this was RC2. These namings aren't great. I need to switch the milestones. Next time. Anyway, so this 35 was RC2. What we've done in RC3 is 28, 30, I guess, in the end. A number of these were discussion items. And in general, as I went poking through this list, a lot of them were much smaller fixes, important fixes, but little mistakes that had snuck through. Sometimes, 2-letter changes, one-liners, 5-liners. So relatively small changes across the space, which is good. And I bring this up as a discussion point, mostly as a, hey, so how is WiX 4 doing? And it feels like the issues that we are hitting are trending down, are getting simpler, are going in the right direction. 30 is still, plenty interesting, and there are enough things in this space to say that it's possible that we're going to see some more things, hopefully not larger than this, in the RC4 timeframe. But right now, all we're going to see in RC4 is an addition to add 4.8.1.NET Framework, which is just we should do that. So that says that it looks pretty good. Things are looking like we're going the right direction. And we're just trying to get to whatever done means. It does mean that if you are using WiX 3, you should try using WiX 4. If you're not on the latest build of WiX 4, you should be trying the latest build of WiX 4. It is time for us to be finishing this. Everybody should be on it, and so that we can have a good feel for these are the issues that are in WiX 4, and these were the set we chose to fix, and some of them got punted. For example, this quiet exec and all those kind of work we could have done, we didn't. It's on to some future release, which is what we're going to say about more and more things as we get down. But if you haven't tried WiX 4, now is the time. So going back, is there anything else people want to talk about? Question, comments, stuff going on out there. Upgrade to WiX 4 RC3. It comes out tomorrow. Maybe take the weekend, get prepared. Upgrade on Monday. Start letting us know if there are any other things that we've hit. There's been some runtime things that are hard for us that if we don't have full test coverage across the extensions, like running all the things were not there. So running the actual extensions that you use, that helps us. That's probably the biggest spaces. And then just coverage of everything in the space is big. So WiX covers a huge surface area of Windows. So there's lots of things for people to try their particular part that they use and let us know that it works. All right, I've been filling time. It is entirely possible. I would be happy if we have one bug fix. If we just add .NET Framework 4.8.1 in WiX or RC4, that would be great. If that's the only thing, I guess we could consider renaming RC4 RTM. I don't think that's what we would do. And I don't think that we're only going to get this one issue, but hey, it's somewhere in that hopefully zone of not many issues to find left. So today is the 23rd of February. Looking forward, that would put us at the 9th and then the 23rd. So if we stay on our regular meeting schedule, then we would have another meeting right before the 24th, and that seems about right. So come back in 2 weeks, see how things are going inside RC3 and what work is going to be done in RC4, and then move on from there. Does that sound right, guys?
Sounds right.
All right.
I hope.
Yeah. 2 weeks from now, we will be back. That means March 9th, we'll be back. We'll review how RC3 is going, how things are going, what work is being done in RC4, and that's the plan. So 2 weeks from now, 9:30 PST again, and tried to fill. I don't see any of the questions, so it seems pretty straightforward. That's the kind of things that we got going on. So 2 weeks from now, we'll do all again, and we will be talking about RC3. You guys take it easy. Bye.
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 That's it. All right. Feels kind of weird that there's nothing else. But yeah, I mean, and I'm going to go try to get Ron's change in real quick because it looks okay. Poke out a little more, but it looks okay. And then That'll be RC3. Woohoo. RC4. My hope is that RC4 in general is extremely uninteresting.
Yeah, I might get 481 in, but I didn't want to guarantee it because I have no idea what it looks like outside my house at the moment after our lovely ice storm.
Do you have to? Oh, you have to go out and knock some trees free, or whatever.
God,
that
I
is?
hope not. I didn't lose power, so I'm not that worried. But
Yeah.
it's just now heading above freezing, and in a few hours it will be below freezing. So this is one of those, clean up while you can.
Gotcha. Did you lose any big trees or anything like that?
Well, I don't have trees on my property anymore. I had one big one, and it fell over a few years ago, so now I am treeless. But again, if I lose power, it's because of the trees near my power lines.
Yeah. But you don't own and control, so.
Nope.
So you just have to go knock the ice off the grass then. I remember
my hope is I'm just shoveling the driveway free of any ice that's still there. Which I want to do while it's above freezing, so maybe the ice will have melted and I won't slip and fall.
Yeah, I remember one year when this crazy ice storm came through the Midwest, and I was in high school or something. I remember going out, and you'd look outside, and it just looked like a sheet of glass was wrapped around everything. And once you got off, it was the craziest thing. Once we got off the deck and got down, I remember laying down and looking at the grass, and it was just tiny blades of grass, each of them encased in a layer of ice. It was surreal, and it made that tinkling sound as you
right.
No, it was strange.
Well, the forecast as of last night was between 1/10 of an inch and 4/10 of an inch. 1/10 is not that bad as long as you're not driving. 4/10 of an inch, that's what brings down trees and power lines.
Gotcha. Yeah. This was a lot back then too. Yeah. I don't know what it was, but yeah, we had snow yesterday. Started snowing early. Yeah, it was like snowing from, I don't know, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Then it stopped snowing, and then it all melted by the afternoon, by the time kids home. It's just like, this is so weird.
Yeah.
It was 80 degrees here yesterday.
That sounds terrible.
It does. Yeah, it's too hot.
Well, I mean, if it's 80 degrees now, what's it going to be later?
That is true.
Yeah. It dipped down back today. It's only 49 right now.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
In
That's
a day?
Crazy weird spike.
Yep.
Yeah. I was in Arizona and it was like, 70, but the wind would blow and it would be cold. 0.65 inches of ice there. Jeepers. Half an inch of ice. Over half an inch of ice.
Yeah. Nothing. No, I mean, that'll bring down big trees.
Oh, man. All right. Well, release process tomorrow. That's my primary thing tomorrow. And then I don't know, hopefully nothing, honestly. Hopefully it's just kind of sit around waiting and watching and seeing people try to use it, but I don't know that I can hope that, or that that's realistic, but that's the hope. So all right, we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.